Out of the blue corner, wearing red trunks with black trim and fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He weighed in at a trim and ready 158 1/2 pounds with a record of 35 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw. He has 27 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he is making the 10th defense of his title. Please welcome the IBF middleweight champion of the world, introducing Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins. Once again, a referee in charge, Frank Santori, now to give instructions. 12 rounds of World Championship boxing schedule.
Wipe some of this down. Just wipe it down so it's not good. There you go. Thank you. Bernard. Where are you going? Right here. Jimmy, where are you going? Antwun.
So all the preamble is done, and now Frank Santori's little discussion with the fighters, and we will be underway.
Here, Bernard.
Are all those people really needed in the ring? We have to wait now for all of these people to get out.
All right.
Might have had a little glimpse of the white scarf that is worn around the neck of the trainer of Bernard Hopkins, and just can't quite see it.
Questions? Questions? Good luck to both of you.
Now you see that scarf. That is the same scarf that was worn by Sugar Ray Robinson back in 1954. See that white scarf? When he defeated Kid Gavilan in a fight in Philadelphia. And it has been in the possession of that man ever since.
And the Executioner's favorite fighters are Sugar Ray Robinson and marvelous Marvin Hagler.
That's right. He's dedicated this fight to both of them.
Yeah. This is a great fighter. Both of these terrific middleweights. Watch out for the power of that right hand. There's dynamite. Kid Dynamite, Antwun Echols, and Bernard Hopkins.
This is round 1, and I don't know. I give the sartorial splendor award to Echols anyway. He wins Mr. Congeniality.
Something tells me they're not fighting for that title.
No, you don't think so?
No. In the ring, Bernard Hopkins says, "I'm a boxer puncher." His best punch, he says, is the right cross. Look at Bernard trying to smother the power of Echols. He says, "I do not throw unnecessary punches," says Hopkins. Antwun Echols says, "Both right and left, I have power punches. I try to throw them off. Boxer slugger, slugger boxer." He says his best punch, too, is the right cross, naturally right-handed.
Echols holds his hands out in front. An unusual style, and once he starts letting the fist fly, he will leave himself open. But again, he's got the power that normally makes up for that.
And he seems to have a pretty good chin. So many of these fighters you see that hit really hard like he does, they can't take a good shot. His chin will certainly be tested tonight from Bernard.
Now we'll see if he's managed to straighten his punches out. He had thrown a lot of these wide arcing punches, and Hopkins, of course, a guy who's excellent straight ahead. Right there, the right hand, very quick by Hopkins.
Hopkins, such a pro. He wants to improve in the ring.
Good right hand.
He observed a good shot there from Echols. You know, Echols is the definition of a guy with a puncher's chance. 22 KOs and 22 victories. I mean, he can flat out crack.
And he says, "I learn fast. I'm keen to change." He says he can change second by second, which is at this level what you have to do. Now, he seems to be, in this opening round, he seems to have some jitters. You know, there's a lot riding on this fight. He knows how important it is, and he seems to be forcing it a bit. Hopefully he'll be able to relax and those nerves will subside. He does look nervous in this opening round. Looks like he's trying to prove something.
The best idea is to try to jump on Hopkins early. I think Hopkins is a slow starter most of the time, who picks up, though, with each succeeding round. Just gets better as the fight wears on.
And also a great student of the game, and he's going to see what's up. That is not going to count, however.
No, he hit on the break there. Antwun Echols hit on the break. Now let's see if it's called a knockdown.
No knockdown.
No knockdown.
I stopped because you were holding him. I know.
But you get a little idea of some power there.
Yes.
That's not a knockdown.
Right.
I said stop. When I say stop, do not punch. You understand? That's a caution. Don't do it again. It'll cost you points. Understand?
Do it again, it'll cost you a point.
Stay here.
He hit on the break.
Time. You okay?
Scoring a knockdown that the judges are supposed to wipe out of their mind.
I got time here. That's an illegal blow. You hit him after I said stop.
We're going to take a timeout, and Hopkins is entitled to
Tell me
that.
when you're ready. Hey, you were holding him punches. Don't do that till I said stop, all right? Just let me know when you're ready. You okay? You ready? Time!
All right, here we go again.
Now, if you're Antwun Echols, jump right on him. Hopkins may still be hurt from that right hand over the top. Look at the muscles in the backs of both of these fighters.
That's a good right hand again by Echols. Got Hopkins right off of him.
That's where his power is.
Here's the action we told you about. A war, immediate, right off the bat in this fight.
Well, an interesting first round, to say the least. A little something for everybody in the first 3 minutes.
Settle down. I want you to go with the jab.
Well, a very interesting round. Some little minor fouls by the two in there, but there you see after the break, Echols landing the right hand that put Bernard Hopkins down. Under normal circumstances, that would have been a knockdown, but he hit after the break, so instead it was a foul. And you can see that right on the chin.
Boy, you really see the power, too.
And Echols coming on very strong, Sean, at the end of the round.
The referee knows they're in the heat of the battle. Frank Santori did the absolute right thing. You give a warning. You don't take a point away from Echols for that. Echols didn't really mean to. There was some good scoring again by Echols. There is Bernard Hopkins.
Everything's okay.
Get this water up.
He says, I still want to be the king of the ring. He's very disciplined. Bernard Hopkins is the consummate professional.
Well, so far, he's just been swarmed by Antwun Echols.
And look at the movement. Why? He's trying to clear the cobwebs. If your Echols jump right on him, look at the backs on both of these fighters. Look at the back on Bernard. All the muscles back there. And on Echols.
Hopkins has multiple skills, and he's trying to use his ability to move here in round number 2.
And Echols just looking to bomb, and that is his best chance. Why not?
Good work. Antwun, you okay? Turn around.
Hopkins can adjust, Barry. He can fight many different fights, I think. That's one of the great things about Bernard in the ring, the ability to adjust and to do what's necessary to win.
Very many styles. That's why he says I'm a boxer puncher. Look at him boxing right now. This is when you have to box and your opponent's trying to punch you. You don't want to punch with a puncher. You know, Antwun Echols, fighting his whole life. He's 54-7 as an amateur. He got into boxing when he was 11. But he's a kid that his promoter, Art Palullo, tells me the only thing he wants to know is when is the fight and how much am I getting paid. Doesn't matter who it is. When is the fight and when am I going to get paid? Or how much am I going to get paid?
Don't punch.
He'll fight anybody in the world, he says.
Well, I guarantee you that Bernard Hopkins asked that question about the pay, too.
Yeah, many times.
Yes.
He's getting paid $100,000 tonight, which for your normal guy is a lot of dough. But Bernard Hopkins feels that he should be making a lot more than $100,000 a fight, that he deserves to be in the $1 million ranks. And he says if he comes through and wins this fight, he will do what it takes in terms of opponents to get that kind of money, including dropping down to 154 to fight a guy like Fernando Vargas or fellow Philadelphian with whom he seems to have a real problem with now, and who has a problem with him, David Reed. Those two not on real friendly terms these days.
I wonder why. They fight one another. Hopefully, Bernard not looking over the hill. Bernard said he was not.
Well, supposedly a deal is already in place if he wins this fight.
Sure, a lot riding on this fight. He has a lot of pressure. He has more pressure than Antwun Echols.
I agree. I think he does too.
Yes. It's his title, his championship, and he's already been down, even though it didn't count.
Echols is taking the fight to him so far, and he has not found the answer yet. Good right hand by Hopkins there.
Boy, Echols got a good chin on him. Didn't even wobble with that.
Yes, because that was an excellent punch.
Yeah, that told us something about Antwun right there. That was a beautifully thrown, very quick and hard punch that I don't even think Echols saw coming.
Kind of a choppy right hand. Nice job, too. You want to put your opponent down, so you punch him down.
All of a sudden, that right hand has started to get there behind the jab of Hopkins. We'll be back.
Bernard Hopkins came back with a flurry, landed that left hook, backed Echols off, threw that right hand. We thought it landed more flush than that, and as it turned out, it grazed the head of Antwun Echols. Maybe that's why Echols had that little smile afterward.
So check what we said about his having a good chin. He still may, but that wasn't the punch that really tested him as much as we thought.
Keep your head up. Keep your head up, Bernard.
I thought Hopkins started to come on well at the end of that last round.
Don't punch him, you're holding him. Punch the way out.
A little blood from the nose of Antwun Echols. This is where Echols wants to fight.
Sure, he loves this. He loves to just load up with both hands. He's got power in both hands. I think equal power, Barry. The way that he just throws those punches and wings them.
Let's go to Sean O'Grady right now, who is in the corner of Bernard Hopkins. Sean?
Yeah, I'm over here with Bowie Fisher. And, you know, after that first round, Bowie, when he came back to the corner, you asked him something. What did he say?
So I asked him, why are you trying so hard? He said, I want to get the job done. So don't worry about getting the job done. You will get it done. Just go back to the basics, go back to what we worked on in the gym, and everything will be fine. Absolutely fine.
Bowie, you got him boxing here. Why?
I want him to box and just use up some of this guy's energy. The guy want to make an alley fight out of him, so we don't want to go in the alley yet.
He's pretty tight. Do you think there'll be a point in this fight you'll put him in the alley?
Oh, if it's necessary, I will. I prefer not. I prefer not because he's got so much to offer.
And now he's fighting like Muhammad Ali.
He's boxing now the way I want to see him box.
All right.
And he can box, and we know that he can punch. But I don't want it to be a slough thing.
Would even be 12 rounds. All right, guys. That's what they like over here. You got the right idea. That's it. Back to you.
Bowie Fisher, of course, has been with Bernard Hopkins no less than 11 years. These two know each other so well, and Hopkins listens to Fisher. It's a very good relationship they have.
Well, I think Echols has been doing a very good job in this round of being able to pinion Hopkins up against the ropes, keep him there, and able to wing his punches. They don't all land, but some of them score and they can impress the judges. And he's kept Hopkins pretty busy defending himself in this round. I get the feeling that Echols, though, has been enjoying the combat, Barry. I look at the smiles on his face sometimes after the exchanges.
No, I agree with you, and he's not fighting like a nervous fighter either. That was another question that we begged to answer, and I think he's answered it. That was a good shot right there. The other thing that Echols has done is he's cut Hopkins off pretty well. He hasn't just followed him into the ropes. For the challenger. And the three. We'll be back.
Taking a look now at the end of round 3, the previous round, as round 4 begins. Look at another punch after the bell there again. Hopkins delivering a little statement of his own.
Little gamesmanship going on. Round number 4. And Hopkins is yet to figure out Echols. Give me that thing, baby. Echols very calm, very confident. You can just tell in how he's conducting himself in there and not being careless. 1-point edge for Echols thus far on your card. Sean O'Grady right now is in the corner of Antwun Echols. Sean, they've got to be pretty happy there, I would think.
Jamie Guthrie is very happy over here, Barry. A lot of instruction from him. Jamie, what do you like now?
Danny, what I like about what I see now is we got an old man using up all his energy early, okay? I hope if he keeps going at this pace right here, we should be able to do something devastating to him. We're going to light that fuse and detonate him. One of these rounds won't be long.
Wait a minute, Danny. In the other corner, Bowie Fisher telling me that there's going to be a point that Antwun slows down. How's his shape?
Well, what I'm talking about is, first he said he's an executioner. You got to have a man's hands tied behind his back. Well, my man's hands ain't tied behind my back, as he tasted a little bit earlier. You know, the punch came a little late, but we had him going where we wanted him to go.
How about what you're going to do here? What are you trying to do this?
Well, what I'm getting ready to do next is when I bring him back to this corner, if he get that far, the guy he's looking desperate now. And what we're going to do when he get through, look at that shot. It's so beautiful. I don't have to do nothing. He said we didn't have no coach. Everybody's been estimating us, but we're going to show this world that Antwun Echols is the middleweight champion of the world.
All right, that's it from the red corner over here. You know what? He's trying to steal my job over here. He's doing a lot of color. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks. And they're doing a pretty good job right now.
I think Echols is fighting a fine fight, it could be a winning strategy, but I don't think Hopkins is near desperate as it's being made out of over in that corner.
But he has not yet figured Echols out. He hasn't been able to really launch anything consistently himself.
Come on.
Hopkins. One of the things he's really able to do, though, is to figure out a way to win. And he's still in that figuring out process. But Echols, as we suspected, is a very fine challenger. This is legit. Antwun Echols, despite the sanctioning chaos of boxing of all of the organizations right now, this is one guy who was ranked in the top 5 by all of them, including #1 in the IBF, the title they're fighting for.
He's 1, 2, and 2 in the rankings, so a very legitimate challenger to the title of Bernard Hopkins. And the 4. We get a couple of chances to watch The Last Word weeknights. It's at 6:30, and then again at midnight, The Last Word with Jim Rome. Telling it like it is, 6:30 p.m. and midnight, right here on Fox Sports Net.
Very excited over in Antwun Echols' corner. He's getting a real earful there, but mostly encouragement and pats on the back and attaboys for the way that he's been fighting so far.
Straight right hand a moment ago from Hopkins, and answers with a right hand of his own. Barry Tompkins with Rich Marotta, the champ Sean O'Grady. We're in round 5 of the IBF Middleweight Championship.
Antwun Echols is a kid who had well-grounded in a good amateur career. He made it, in fact, to the Olympic box office, the finals. He lost to the man who went to the Olympic Games, Raul Marquez, who, in a very controversial final fight, Antwun was stunned Marquez. Oh, and Echols just got stunned there by Hopkins' right hand.
But I'll tell you what, he didn't take a step back.
He knew it. That's right. Don't do it. Watch out. Watch behind your head.
What a right hand.
Now he has been knocked down.
There's another right hand from Hopkins. Maybe he has found something.
Brian Barbosa knocked him down a few fights back in the 7th round, and he came back to knock out Barbosa 2 rounds later.
And right back comes Echols.
Echols though gets wild. Hopkins punches straight. Echols is winging punches from the outside.
Another right hand by Hopkins.
It's all about control. But what Echols is trying to do is take the play back away from Hopkins. Look at that.
Big combination.
Those kind of punches are going to win the fight for Bernard Hopkins. It's combination shots, too. Look at Bernard now. Look at the confidence now. You don't see him boxing around like he was earlier in this fight. He knows what's happening.
Echols talking to him, saying, come on, and Hopkins has obliged.
The change in the tide of this fight.
Hopkins, though, sharp shooting him in this round. The quicker, sharper punches.
And making him come after him. Look, Bernard backing up to get Echols to run into something.
Well, all part of that figuring out a way to win process we talked about.
And he's a pro.
Great to watch. Oh, look at that.
Right hand. Right hand again by Hopkins, and Echols' punches are slowing down, becoming a little more armed.
Those body shots just take so much out of you. You know, those shots accumulate. You can shake the cobwebs in those head shots, not the body punches. Look at him kiss the right hand. Bernard thinks that right hand is going to land it and end this fight.
A big, big round for Bernard Hopkins.
Best punch of the fight was landed by Bernard Hopkins last round. Watch the right hand. Not that one. There it is. Beautiful right hand. Even Echols nodded with some respect. Good punch to the champ.
He was nodding to get his mouthpiece back in his mouth.
Let's see, Echols in round 5 actually threw more punches. You would expect that, but look at the connect percentage of Hopkins. 27 of 28. I don't believe I've ever seen that. Another big right hand.
So no matter what happens with Hopkins beginning to dominate the fight, or even if he does dominate it completely, Echols is right there, still in it, because he's got that power.
But that is working against him, because look what Hopkins is doing now. Hopkins bringing him in, sucking him in. See how Hopkins moving, trying to take the power out of his punch with his leg, his own legs, and he's scoring. Look at him move back. Come on in here. Come on and follow me around. Follow me, dance with me, and then that's when he scores. Bernard's such a pro. Antwun needs to cut off the ring instead of following him in there.
He was doing that. He was doing that earlier. He's not doing it now.
And that's where he scored well.
Right. Good left hand again by Echols, so he just will not go away. And Hopkins with a right hand of his own.
You know, talking to Echols, there was a vulnerable position that he wanted to get Hopkins in, and that is moving in with his left hand down. Look at Hopkins' left hand. Look how high he's carrying it now. Well, not right here, but watch him pull it up. Trying to keep it up because he's been eating too many right hands.
Well, he was told, Echols was in his corner, you've got to use your trick now, Antwun. You've got to use your trick. Haven't quite been able to pick out, if he's used the trick yet, exactly what that would be.
A couple of low blows there by Echols.
I got it.
These are rock-like, meaty blows that these guys are dealing out to each other. There is no wanting for action or wanting for power in this fight.
Then Echols backs him off with the right hand.
He wants him to quit pulling back the head. Echols is upset that Bernard's pulling the back of his head. Oh boy, he's wasting big shots. See how sharp Hopkins' punches are? Compare that to Echols' punches.
Well, they both got a little piece of one another in that exchange. End of 6. Been an excellent fight so far. Welcome back. We come to round number 7. Fight is still there for the taking for either fighter. Blood now from the nose of Echols. It's been on and off throughout the last few rounds. And in Hopkins' corner, Bowie Fisher saying, don't go crazy now, don't go crazy.
Yeah, systematically, round by round, trying to just break effort down a little bit each round. Put him back into his shell. See, Echols still trying to fight.
I don't think Hopkins is the kind of guy who goes crazy, though.
He is very focused. You know, that's the best thing he has going for him. He takes his career very seriously. He says, I can't afford to have a bad day. I'm a professional. I must be perfect. I really wish a lot of fighters would have that same type of feeling. His uncle Artie McLeod got him into boxing, and Juju Hopkins, they were boxers in the 50s and 60s, started carrying him to the gym when he was a young man.
And he went astray, spent 6 years in prison for assault and battery. And never looked back after that. He said, I knew as soon as I got there what I needed to do was be as good as I could be, get out of there, and never come back. And he's done that. He's living a model life right now.
Oh, yeah. He says prison can't rehabilitate people. Only they can. I knew when I was in there that their life was better than a 4x5 cell. Oh, good right hand by Echols.
I think that hurt Hopkins.
Yes, it did.
Hopkins tries to fight off the ropes, but I think clearly that got his attention.
Yeah, he's trying to fight his way out of it now. Rather than hold or rather than box his way out, Bernard Hopkins trying to fight his way out of the fall.
Again, that's the sign of a pro. That's the sign of a guy who's been around. Don't let the other guy know you're hurt.
Sure, and he has also felt the strength subside in Echols. Remember how strong he was in those first 3 rounds?
But I think Echols is still carrying power.
Oh, sure he is. He's got 18 KOs in the first 3. Still able to deliver power punch up until about the 8th round.
He doesn't look like he's dropped off much in the power department to me. This, of course, the IBF Middleweight Championship. The holder in the red trunks, Bernard Hopkins, getting all he wants from the challenger, Antwun Echols, tonight.
Yeah, Barry, he hasn't dropped off in power, but sharpness he has. He's not as sharp as he was in those first 3 rounds. Missing the target way too much tonight. This is a championship fight.
Don't grab Bernard.
You saw Hopkins play a little cagey there.
He tried to sucker him in.
There's a pal of ours, Hector Camacho Jr., now #1, rated by the WBA in the super lightweight division. We're going to be seeing him down the road.
That kid is a lot of fun to be around.
He's a good guy.
And this is a good fight to be around.
Yes, it is. It's been great so far. I've got it as a very close fight, Rich. Good right hand by Echols. Took a good right hand from Hopkins. I mean, they have both felt the other's best.
I think each guy has proven his chin here tonight because these guys are both power punches and both landed big ones.
I have it exactly the same way. 1 point edge for Echols right now. Another right hand by Echols. Let's go into the corner of Bernard Hopkins with Sean O'Grady. Sean?
Thanks, Barry. Over here with Bowie Fisher. You like this?
Yes, well, so far everything's going along pretty good. I'm kind of satisfied. He's not just throwing enough inside shots for me. I want to see him double up inside a little bit. If he doubles up inside, he's going to get this job done.
He's doing very well, but what mistakes are Antwun Echols making in this fight?
Well, Antwun Echols trying to prove that he's the better man, but that's not the way to fight. The better man, the smart man.
And here in this fight, that's how you're having Bernard fight. What would happen if he weren't fighting this way?
Well, he probably had the guy out there, or he could get hurt himself, you know. So that's a gamble.
How close is this fight, Bowie?
Well, I'm quite certain we're winning the fight, but the fight's a good competitive fight.
All right, Bowie Fisher, he's got his man ahead. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Sean. The better man's the smart man. That's sage advice from
Next time you're going to lose the point.
a guy like Bowie Fisher. I love these guys that have been around the sport for as many years.
All right, box. All right, break. You're tied up. Just don't wrestle. Good break. Good clean break. Come on, guys. Great fight.
I think Hopkins has gotten things back a little more under control in this round than they were in the last round. Barry Echols was putting some steam on him in that last round, putting the heat on. And Bernard has got the pace back at a better pace for him.
Don't push off. Just step back.
Not fighting with his back to the ropes nearly as much here in this round. Keeping the fight in the center of the ring for the most part.
All right, don't punch him. All right, break. Stop. Stop. All right, you're grabbing behind the head and points with both of you now. Knock it off, both of you. Don't grab behind the head. Box.
Don't grab behind the head. It's been an ongoing speech of Frank Santori's. Coming to the end of the 8th round, and as you said, Rich, I think a better round for Hopkins because he dictated the fight in this round.
Echols seems to come alive when he hears that 10-second warning, though.
We'll be back. Welcome back. We come to the 9th round, and the outcome's still in the balance. Talking to by Frank Santori before the first punch is thrown here in round 9. Bowie Fisher wanting Bernard Hopkins to double up more. Don't try to get it all with one punch. I think the most significant thing, Rich, is that he's able to keep Echols in the middle of the ring.
And just in a battle of skills, Hopkins is better. When Echols is able to suddenly dictate the pace of the fight, as he's trying to do right here, where he jump on him and get the fight into that kind of a rhythm, that's when things get a little rough for Hopkins. In just the recent fights, Echols has proven his ability to score late round KO, so don't write him off because the fight is this far along.
Let's go to Sean O'Grady, who is in the corner of Antwun Echols. Sean?
Yeah, Dan Dother's over here, and he's doing a lot of coaching from the corner. What are you telling him, Dan?
I want him to double up with a straight right hand. Double jab first. See, a double jab sets up a right hand. That's the perfect way to box. You got to jab to set him, the leaning back, then you follow through with a second jab when he's coming back, and then you drop the right hand on his way coming to throw his.
A different complexion in this fight here than earlier in the fight. Does that favor you or him?
It's favoring us, because see, the guy been running all night. Judges don't like runners like this. Call himself a champion.
How close is there's a champion? You know the old adage.
Well, you know what's happening here.
That wobbled in. Got that wobbled in with the right hand.
A lot of business over here. Back to you.
All right, and the business now for Echols is to hang on. He was clearly wobbled and almost dropped. And we talked about the fact that Hopkins is an excellent finisher.
Now we'll see if Echols can fight his way out of the fog.
Yeah, dire straits right now for Echols. His leg's still not under him.
It was one punch, right hand by Hopkins, and immediately he showed the effects Echols did of that shot, and he's still wobbly in there.
Yes, he is. His legs have not yet come back. And a long way to go yet. 50 seconds left in the round.
He's a little off balance as he comes forward. He's trying to show Hopkins that he can take his punch. But he's a little foggy at this point.
A good idea for him just to stay out of harm's way, get out of this round, and take the minute's rest. Good right hand again. A great body shot.
And Hopkins down. Sharpshooting. Echols is not putting anything back on him. Hopkins is moving around. He has it very much to his advantage. He's landing power shots, body and head.
I mean, you can't be saved by the bell in any round, so there's still time for Hopkins. And there's going to be some work to be done in the corner of Echols. They get a chance to see that punch. It was a terrific right hand.
That's all. That's all Smith said.
This just stopped him dead in his tracks.
Let's get out of this place.
Right hand, right on the button. You see that left leg swing up? You know, I once saw Bernard Hopkins knock out Joe Lipsy, and he actually froze Lipsy in the center of the ring with one punch. He had him knocked out on his feet. See that left leg? It just kicked up into the air.
I've seen that many times. I remember John Tate in the Olympic Games against Stevenson. Had to go to the neutral corner to fall down.
Last rinse. Right my back. Last rinse, baby. Right here. Let's go back to basics.
Let me get some wrestling on you.
Go back to basics, what? Go back to basics, good jab. Tell me your something.
Yeah, okay,
Seconds out.
And you can see, or maybe you didn't see, Echols try to do a little dance just to get some life back in the legs. 10th round.
What he'll try to do is get his rhythm back here at the start. That was what was part of that. It'll take some excessive grease off of the face of the champion right now. That gives a few more precious seconds here to Antwun Echols to recover.
And valuable at this point, I would think. See how Echols plays this round now. And you heard Bowie Fischer say back to basics for Bernard Hopkins. Good body work by Hopkins.
Yeah, mixing in some of that now, real good idea.
And a great uppercut as well. Hopkins really dictating things now.
Very accurate in this round.
Smells blood, I believe.
Yeah, another point that is of note here, guys. Never a knockout after the 8th round for Antwun Echols. You know, 22 KOs and 22 wins. This could be it for him. Bleeding from the nose, and he has been hit a lot of times. His corner man tells me he's got a great chin, and this is where he needs it.
Well, he's certainly shown that. I mean, he's taken some horrendous shots from Hopkins. Another thing that strikes me about Hopkins, he's always on balance.
KO in the 9th round that I talked about in Baton Rouge with Byron Barbosa that you saw a little bit earlier, about February 10th at 98.
And the thing to keep in mind about that fight was he was knocked down in that fight too, and he came back and was still able to score that late round knockout.
But Hopkins really pot-shotting him here now.
Picking him apart. Wow. Is that impressive? You know, even when I saw him against Roy Jones Jr., I didn't give Hopkins a round, but I just saw how much better he got. You know, that's why playing with Michael Jordan was so good for basketball players. It elevates everyone else's performance. That's what it did that night for Bernard Hopkins. And he really wants to fight the best in the world. He wants to fight the Fernando Vargases, the David Reeds. He wants those kind of fights. And he also wants those big paydays.
Yeah, he does, and you can't blame him. And, you know, he's been there for a long time.
Paid his dues.
Absolutely paid his dues. Been married for the last 3.5 years. He has a little daughter, Latrice, who he says is his life.
It's new motivation for the big dough.
His wife is Janet, also married to the sport of boxing.
That's right. Much to the chagrin, he says, of his mother and father-in-law.
And we talked about his idols, Sugar Ray Robinson and Marvin Hagler. He said, Hagler always in tremendous shape. That kind of signifies what he's in tonight. All the time he fought everyone. He did his job, and that's what Bernard Hopkins has become.
I thought Marvin Hagler one of the great middleweights of all time, and I thought he never really got his just due because they remember him for the loss to Leonard. We'll be back. Round number 11 now, and Bernard Hopkins starting to extend his will at the expense of the challenger, Antwun Echols, who was held up well, and I still, wouldn't rule him, I would give him the puncher's chance.
Yes, absolutely, you have to. But in that last round especially, Barry, Bernard Hopkins was like a surgeon, I thought. He was dissecting his opponent, just breaking him down bit by bit. That was a great bit of championship work by Bernard Hopkins.
This is what a champion is all about. And you saw so many, I know you did, Rich, before my time, but you saw so many Sugar Ray Robinson fights where he did exactly that. He looked at the total picture. He had 15 rounds to work with. He didn't go out there for the first 1 or 2 round knockout, just barrel over his opponent. He looked at dissect him, to pick him apart, to change. And you've certainly seen all the styles that Bernard Hopkins has tonight.
Yeah, and I thought if this, in fact, is an audition for big money fights for Bernard Hopkins, I think he's passed his audition. This is a tough guy that he's fighting tonight. Maybe tougher than the other 2 guys that you mentioned that were out there for him.
And Echols, I think, is close to going off of his feet here. The body punches by Hopkins are hurting Echols at this point.
He's been doing that since he got him hurt in the 9th round.
And that's only half the problem. The body punches and the headshots.
He's wearing him down.
These he will feel tomorrow, and the next day it'll feel even worse. He'll wake up 2 days from today, and he'll go, what did I do to myself? Antwun Echols, who will spend a few days hurting from the pain that Hopkins is dishing out.
And again, a good body shot by Hopkins, a left to the body a moment ago.
The big knockout streak. Take a step back. Probably over.
Hopkins has been fighting for himself in terms of that money we talked about. But he said, basically he's been fighting for all boxers. And that's how he feels. He testified in Congress. He corresponded with Senator John McCain about the authoring of the Muhammad Ali Reform Act in Congress.
And again, Hopkins just continues to put the pressure on. Another left hand on the body.
I just think those body punches are taking the starch completely out of Echols.
They would take them out of anyone. What shots. Downstairs, they add up.
I think this has really been a craftsman's performance for Hopkins tonight against the guy who really came out here with an idea of how he's going to win the fight. Come to the end of the 11th round. 3 minutes of boxing remaining in this IBF Middleweight Championship, and we'll be back. That's been a great fight, and we come to the 12th and final round. And due credit to Antwun Echols. He came with an idea, and he tried to execute it as best he could, and it's not over yet.
Well, I think he's fought a very good challenge to Bernard Hopkins, but that's a superior champion that he is in there with. And both of these guys look to me like they have a lot of will to win.
Yeah, both proud warriors. But I tell you, look at that shot from Hopkins.
Again, that lift of the left leg of Echols right off of the canvas.
I think Echols' legs are just about gone.
Yeah, this fight is a lot reminiscent of the fight between Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins. Hopkins was in there, he was trying the entire time, but Roy Jones just too fast for him, too quick for him. And in this fight, Antwun right there, but he's not quite winning the round. In fact, between rounds, his corner telling him, just don't get knocked out, you're winning the fight.
He bombed him with a couple of right hands here, but right off the ropes comes Hopkins to answer.
Oh, and look at that, how he's wilting. Antwun, I tell you, both of these kids are tough. Oh.
Echols is ready to go.
Yeah, he is. And now Hopkins jumps on him. And there's a long, long way to go for Echols to end this fight on his feet. He doesn't have much left.
Nose bloodied. He nearly lost his mouthpiece. I don't think he has much in the way of his legs underneath him.
Still trying to fight, though.
Yeah, he is. He believes in his power. He's still trying to land that one big one.
Halfway through the final round.
What a war. This is what middleweight championship boxing is all about.
Well, you wish it was just what championship boxing was all about. This has been 2 guys who got up in there tonight and fought, not danced.
Bernard Hopkins told us yesterday, had a conversation with Echols, said, let's put on a show. You give it your best, I'll give it my best. That's exactly what's happened.
Well, that's what boxing is supposed to be. The best in the world facing one another.
Oh, right hand almost dropped him. Almost went to a knee.
Where did Echols come up with that one? Wow. Look at this fight.
This is great.
Come back.
And a right hand from Hopkins.
Don't hurt him punch.
A puncher always has a chance.
Still, fighter can't be saved with a bell in the final round either. That's a slip.
Turn around, Bernard, turn around. No, stop. Turn around. Keep second.
Thought we saw a very inspiring fight by both of these two gentlemen boxers in there this evening.
Just terrific. Just great stuff. And it's over. It was terrific. Hopkins proved the point.
Bernard Hopkins is right in front of us, leaning over the ropes, looking at us down. He goes, "What'd I tell you about pound for pound, huh?"
Well, he makes a very good argument for himself. And I thought it was just being a consummate professional as well that won this fight for him.
Well, he had some difficult moments early, and he even had one difficult moment late. After dominating the last couple of rounds and seemingly in control, there's a right hand by Echols that got the attention, certainly at least, of Bernard Hopkins in that last round. He saw his knees dip, but he staved off the knockdown.
It was just a terrific action fight from beginning to end, and the challenger came with a will to win, but the champion, I believe, prevailed. We'll find out when we come back. We welcome you back. It was a terrific middleweight championship fight here at Miccosukee. Right now, let's take you up to Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards with a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judges at ringside, Vaughn LaPrade and John Rupert both score with about 118 to 110. Judge at ringside, Billy Ray scores about 119 to 109. All three in favor of the winner. And still the IBF middleweight champion of the world, Bernard, the Executioner Hopkins.
Well, Bernard Hopkins is the winner. A fight that the judges really saw much more lopsided than you and I did, Rich.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by those scores, but all three of them had it up in the 118 and 119 range, giving Echols only 1 or 2 rounds. I had it 116, 112 for Hopkins and feel that he won all of the late rounds really to seal the victory.
Yeah, I thought he did too. Right now, let's go up the center of the ring. Sean O'Grady is with the winner. Sean?
I never